everyone, and welcome to our highlight show, Day 2. I am Nazi Paikidze, and I'm here with Grandmasters Yasser, Seirawan, and Peter Svidler.
Nice to be with you. Tell us about the standings after 2 eventful days of rapid.
Let's take a look. We have 2 co-leaders, Alireza Firouzja and Vladimir Fedoseev, with 8 points. Only a point behind is Aravint in clear 3rd. And then 3 players are sharing 4th. That's Levon Aronian, Duda, and Deac.
Absolutely. And a big highlight of today's action was Levon's victory over Daniel. What a very strange
And this game. Being a highlights package, I am struggling honestly to talk about this game. I could write a small dissertation on this one game, frankly. It began its life as a Petrov, which doesn't normally promise very much excitement, but it very quickly either evolved or devolved, depending on your viewpoint, into something very, very strange. After Queen E2, Queen E7, somewhere around here, B2, B4 is either very rare or just straight up a novelty. And Levon was happily a minute above his starting time. But after A6, he began to think. I think he spent something like 13 minutes on the next move. And without going too much into detail, 5 moves later, the position looks like this. The B-pawn is still gone somehow, just in a very different way that we would expect. And white has some compensation because of this awkwardly placed queen on E6. And as you will see later in the game, this is what Levon decides to play against. Rook F1, Rook B1 was stronger for some very strange computer reasons. Bishop C5, attacking the knight. Seemingly you have to take on C8. No. No going back. Bishop F3, Bishop takes B6, and Knight takes D5. As I mentioned, cashing in this X-ray along the E file. But this doesn't work tactically if black plays precisely. But by that point, as is very customary for us to see in this tournament, Praggnanandhaa was down to 17 seconds, and it was difficult for him to play very precisely. He took on D5, which is correct. But after Rook takes E6, understandably, he did not find the intermediate Knight F4, which would have been very, very strong here. Instead, he played Bishop takes E6, White went Bishop takes D5, C takes D5, A4, Knight D6, Bishop takes G7, and another big miss by Deac, not playing Bishop takes F2 here. Black is not better necessarily after Bishop takes F2. The problem is if you don't do it, you're worse. King G7, Rook B6, Knight C4, Queen D4 check. This is a very comfortable position for Levon. But then another very familiar topic for us. Deac has 10 seconds, plays really well, and actually outplays his opponent who has much more time than him. And if you forward to somewhere like here, black has stabilized completely. The Rook on G3 has no moves. Black is very comfortable. In fact, the machine says black is even better. But more events continued happening. And then maybe the biggest turning point of the game was this position, where black just played D5, D4, white played C3, C4. And it was possible to just snap on C4 with the intention of meeting D takes with D3, and then Knight E5, Knight takes C4, D3, G2, and so on. And Levon would have had a very difficult defense on his hands. Instead, Deac missed that opportunity and continued allowing white to push forward with G4, G5, Rook D8, H4. But if you don't do anything here, you're still going to be fine. What you shouldn't do, though, is this move Rook G8, which he somewhat panicking decision, which allowed the queen to enter the position. And very few moves later, black just got mated. A very exciting game, which I didn't do any justice to, but honestly, this could have been very easily a 1.5 hour video, which was something we probably do not want for a highlights package.
Kind of a lot of drama. Thank you, Peter. And talking about drama, when I think about the Alireza versus Prague, both players were so ambitious. Well, take a look at the video. We'll see.
Both refusing to make a draw.
Refusing.
So
You're right.
Rook D2 is too ambitious.
Rook D4 loses to something. To Rook B7, I guess?
No.
And King H2.
Or check first?
Yeah,
No,
he's
Rook
going
B7,
for Rook B7. Well, F7 just, you can't defend.
Well,
It's over.
Check. And King H2
King
now.
H2.
And King H2 now.
No more checks.
Oh my God! It's
Wow.
Queen C4.
Queen F6.
Queen F6 and
Oh, excuse me, Queen F6. Yeah, I understand.
Queen C8? Oh, I know.
Queen takes F7.
Yeah.
No, he's actually
He just made a move with 1 second.
Yeah,
Now after
Queen
Queen
F6
F6,
just-
wow, Alireza tricked him.
Oh.
Not really. Not, he just
Tricked
decided
himself.
to continue. Decided to continue for one move too far. Yeah. Yeah, he's not going to be
It's really sad
pleased
for
with
Prague.
this. Yeah, the rest just starts dumping pieces on the board.
And he says you're clocked.
Yeah.
Did he flag? I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah, I think he has flag.
Yeah, I think it was the flag. But I like that you just
like-
the pieces on the board.
Your opponent is still thinking, you just start setting the position back.
That was a highlight video for sure. But what you didn't see before we got to the video was there was a perpetual check that Prague had, and he just
More
assured
than
it.
once.
Yes,
Yeah.
he said, "No, I want to play for a victory." Aronian-Deac versus Topalov.
And more Deac highlights for us here. This is a game Deac played in round 5 with the white pieces against Veselin Topalov. This was a very complicated Ruy Lopez, and this last move, knight fd7, is a pretty big mistake for a very cute reason, actually. White could basically win a full pawn here with the move knight b3, and if you go a takes b4, whoops, no squares. No squares for you. This is a full queen on c6. It's not often that you see a position where, with 31 pieces on the board, the queen has no squares to go to. So knight b3 was more or less instantly winning. But what Deac has done instead, bishop b3, still gives him a pretty sizable advantage. And in fact, if you proceed further, let's say to this moment, we're going very far ahead in the game. Black is kind of telegraphing the desire to play d6, d5. And if you play either queen f3 or rook a5, a6 to make it impossible for black to recapture with the knight, it's still a very unpleasant position. Instead, Deac played knight f1, d5, e d5, knight d5. And this is a massive, massive improvement for black, because suddenly the pieces start playing queen e5, rook e7, queen g3, queen f6. And having gotten rid of your weaknesses, you are now a pawn down, but all of your pieces are suddenly breathing, and black is completely fine. But Veselin was running very, very short on time, and the decisive moment came here on move 55, where the material equality has been re-established, but there is this unpleasant pin along the third, and Veselin decided to solve it immediately by playing knight e2, rook takes d3 and knight f4 check. Unfortunately for him, after king g3 and b6, the unstoppable threat of rook a7 basically wins the game for white, and Deac did not make any mistakes from here. Had he played something like rook e4 here, though, he would have been completely fine. He was one precise move away from saving a very difficult position, but ended up still going down here. And as yesterday, Veselin started the day with a couple of losses, but as we will see in a moment, that's never the end of the day for Veselin.
Absolutely. Thank you, Peter. And another highlight we had.
Yes, we had MVL playing Najdorf with the white pieces.
Yes. Against David. Have a look. That looks really powerful.
Looks like the
oh dear.
final touch.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Rook on the 7th.
Well, just what Peter said. The position collapses once we get to take the pawn on d6.
Ah,
Capture
now queen
that.
g3, g6 is a lot stronger.
Because h5 is played.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Takes.
And queen f3 is his choice.
Doesn't that knight make a joyful defensive impression? Like we could.
Yeah, MVL only used his knight for defense. Just the knight, yeah.
And it was
Threw all the other pieces into the attack.
queen c2.
Yeah, he did. Oh, he's
Rook
got rook
g2
d2.
Ooh. Well, that's just rude.
Nice win for MVL.
Wow, you just asked has MVL won a game yet? And guess what? He just did. Very, very nice victory by MVL in that one. Prague features again.
Yes, over to you, Peter.
Yeah, and for the last round, this is the first round of the tournament where we've had only one decisive game, so that was an easy pick for the highlight package. And Prague, who started by winning his first two and has lost a number of games since, I think his opening choice here, going for the Caro, which is not really his repertoire opening, was an attempt to play for a win against somebody who is not really having an enjoyable time of it so far. At that moment, Veselin was on 1 out of 5, so to speak, won 1 game and lost 4. And this was an ambitious option, but the game was kind of fizzling. If you look at the position somewhere around move 16, a lot of material comes off. White does have a bishop and knight against 2 knights, but black is very healthy, no real weaknesses, knights in the center of the board. I would maybe even suggest if anybody is better here, it's black. But then a very critical moment, I guess, came somewhere around this point where an attempt to jump, an attempt to put some pressure on the c2 pawn resulted in white having this slightly awkward looking rook on c3, but white has stabilized. And now it's time to actually think about the basics. There's an open file on the board, there's a rook on the open file. You should neutralize it. You should play either rook fe8 or rook a8. You can start with b7, b6 so that a5 never hangs, but you should still play rook e8 pretty much next move. Any of those options would have given black a very comfortable equality. And instead, Pragg went rook f7, making those trades along the e-file much harder for himself for the future. And this is move 21, and this is move 30. And the position is just in ruins. And I think the beginning of the problems for Pragg was this decision not to challenge for the e-file. I think maybe he thought he absolutely has to play for as complicated a position as possible to stop the game becoming too equal because of how much he needed to win this game for his tournament situation.
Right.
But it basically derailed the game altogether, and somewhere around here, it's a picture that doesn't really need describing. Everything is going backwards. Your pieces are being pushed further and further down, and Veselin won a very nice final game. Once again, having the exact same day as yesterday, 2 losses followed by a very nice victory in the last round. So no draws in 6 games so far for our veteran.
Thank you, Peter. And once again, the highlights, we saw these decisive games. They're just too much fun to call.
And here's our schedule. Tomorrow will be last 3 rounds of Rapid.
Right.
After that, we start 2 days of Blitz.
Yeah,
And
with
playoffs
18
if necessary.
if necessary. 18 points up for grabs in the Blitz, but 6 tomorrow. I hope you join us as we have day 3 of the Grand Chess Tour.
Thanks for watching our highlights.
See you.